All right. Now, what about data holders? So these are the values, the types of the values that we can use. Now, how can we hold these values? We need some data holders, right? Now, just like JavaScript, Python is a weakly typed language. So what does it mean? Weakly typed language? The variables or the data holder itself doesn't have a type. Okay? Its type is the type of the value it points to. Okay? But as you can see here, I can have x equal 5. Now, if I say type x, it just looks at the value that x is holding, and that's what returns here int. I can use it in any operations. It is the value is used as an integer, but later on, the same variable with the same name, I can use it with a string. Okay, so and now when I try to type it, it will give me a string. Okay, so in terms of its weakly type, just like in JavaScript, let's have a look at that. I want to just clean it up a little bit. So let's have x, and there's no let or var or anything that we need, any keyword that we need to declare a variable. Okay, we just type the variable name, and then we can use the assignment operator. So let's say we have x equal 5. Now when I say type of x, it's just a type of the value. Okay, I can use it to as part of an operation, and whatever value is there is used as part of the operation. Now, if I try say plus a string, now here's something also special about Python, or at least different from the languages that we have learned here. Now, in the C++, in Java, and in JavaScript, most languages, when you try to concatenate to a string, it converts whatever you try to concatenate to a string automatically, right? Not in Python. Now, see, I try to say plus. There is no implicit type conversion in Python. Okay, give me an error saying I cannot apply plus on an int and a string. Okay, but there is explicit type conversion. I can convert, if this is an integer, I can convert it to a string. So I can say string, str, it's the name of the type. So that converts the number into a string, and then I say plus ABC. So now it concatenates. Okay, I can also say x equal xyz. So now it's the same variable that used to hold an integer. Now I make it hold a string, and then we say type. When I say type of x, now it gives me a string, and I can use it with any string operation like this with no problem. Okay. All right. So no implicit type conversion. We can have explicit type conversion. Of course, converting anything to a string is not a problem. You just surround it with codes, right? But when you convert numeric types, they has to be, I mean, other types, they have to be compatible. If you converting a string to a number, then the content of the string has to be a number. All the rules that we're already familiar with. All right. Now, what about statements? Now, here's an if statement. It looks very different than what we learned in JavaScript and in Java. So here's how it look like. So we start with if, and then the expression, and then colon. Now, we know in Java and JavaScript, empty spaces don't have any meaning, right? In Python, empty spaces have a lot of meaning. Okay? So when you enter, so enter means that you are in a new line. Now, in order to indicate that I am going to a new line, but I don't want to start a new statement, so this column, usually when you have a statement that has multiple clauses and you want to put it in multiple lines, usually we're gonna use this column to indicate that I'm not done with the statement yet. Now you can put the entire statement in one line, like here, but once you have a new line, that indicates that you are starting a new statement. Okay, unless there's an indentation, okay, or a semicolon. Now we are familiar with the concept of a block, right? How did we create a block in Java and JavaScript and C and C#, most of the language, with curly brackets, right? Now, in Python, the block is indicated by the indentation, okay? The space. So when we have a statement starts at the beginning of the line, and then a new line, and then indentation, that means that this is a block under this statement. Okay? Now we can put the entire block in one line, but we have to separate them with semicolons. And that's the only, I mean, we don't need semicolons at the end of the statements as we are used to, but we can use it to separate multiple statements under the same block. All right, now let's have a look at that. So here's an example. If I want to have this kind of structure, I can say if, and then without round parentheses or anything, just the expression, and then the colon, and then I write this one statement, semicolon, another statement. Okay, if I want to put these in multiple lines, I need to use indentation. Okay, so these two lines will be executed only if this condition is true. And these two lines will be executed when that condition is true. Now, another difference as well, in Java and JavaScript, we only have else, if and else. And then inside the else, we can create another if, right? Now here, if we want to have branches, we use elif instead of else, and then inside of it another if. Of course, we can list it, but so the way we write the if is very similar to the switch case. Okay, so instead of having a switch on a value, you can have an if statement, a condition, and then these are multiple conditional roots indicated by elif. So elif is short for else if, right? And then we can have a default value if we want. That is the final else. That's the one that we write the entire else to indicate that this is the default of the final branch. Okay, but it's not mandatory, as you can see here in this example. It's not mandatory. I created if and elif and then ended it, and it works. Okay, now let's see that. So let's say I have a variable called grade. Let's say is equal to 90. Now, if I want to have that one line, I can't use elif. Okay, so let's say grade more than 80, and then I say print. Okay, whatever. And then semicolon, and then print, say A. Oh. Grade is not Oh. Okay. Now, if I want this to span multiple lines, so I would say grade greater than 80. Now, the nice thing here is gonna create the indentation automatically. And if you're using a good editor, it will create the indentation automatically. So I'm gonna print. So line 1 here. And then print. You see, automatically gave me the indentation, expecting me to continue working on the same block. Okay. Now, if I want to get out of the block, I need to remove the indentation. So I say left more than or less than 80 and grade more than 70. I can have print here line 3. Now I want to get out of it. Okay, if I'm writing this in a script file, just one new line is enough. But because this is interactive mode, it needs 2 new lines. So if I was writing this in a PY file, in a plain text file, this one line would be sufficient. As long as I remove the indentation, I'm out of the statement. Shh. Okay. But because this is interactive mode, it doesn't know, like it's still waiting for me to confirm that I'm done. So I can just have another new line. Now we can see that these 2 lines are considered one block. All right. Any questions? Now you have to be careful with this indentation because if you're not used to it, it can be really confusing. Yes. Sorry, the ampersand. What? Say that again. Yes. Yes, yes. Yeah, so the and in Python is the actual word. Yes, and not as well. So here, if you look at here, so or and not, full words, not the symbols like we are used to. Okay.